Hi there, this is Vaughn Martin, and I'd like to invite you to a conference that we're going to be holding in Scotland, Pennsylvania, at the Scotland campus on January 18 to 21, every evening at 7 o'clock p.m. This conference is called the Holy Spirit and Fire Conference, and I believe that in this conference we're going to experience a little bit of the fire of God. When I study the fire of God, it's an amazing thing. The fire of God transforms men. When the fire of God fell at Pentecost, it wasn't just about the gifts of the Spirit. When the fire of God fell at Pentecost, men were transformed. People went home and sold everything they had and gave it away because the fire of God was burning in their hearts and the love of money was completely destroyed. And the only thing they cared about was to do the will of God. The only thing they cared about was to go and preach the gospel. The only thing they cared about was to accomplish the things that God wanted them to accomplish. When the fire burned at Pentecost, the fear of man was completely destroyed. You read the story of Peter, and just a few days before, he was afraid of a little girl who mocked him and said, "Hey, you were with Jesus." And when the fire burned at Pentecost, Peter became fearless. Peter became someone who went and shook the nations with the power of the gospel of Jesus Christ. The fire of God burned at Pentecost. It says the fear of God came upon every soul. The holy, awesome presence of a holy God filled every soul. It filled the area. And men understood that God is holy. I believe that in our times, the fire of God is about to be poured out. We're living in a time when the church is deeply corrupted by love of money, is deeply corrupted by religion, is deeply corrupted by all kinds of foolish doctrines, where men begin to doubt even very basic elements of creation, like what is a man and what is a woman. And I believe that in our time, the fire is going to burn. And the fire is going to bring judgment. It's going to bring a shaking of things that are evil, that are built by man, by the religious mind of man. And it's also going to bring a cleansing. It's going to destroy the love of money. It's going to destroy the fear of man. And those who are cleansed in that fire are going to be so wholehearted and so radical that they're going to live to do the will of God. I believe that in these meetings, we're going to experience something of this fire. I believe the Lord is going to be there, and I believe His message is going to be spoken. I'm going to be ministering with a friend of mine called Alejandro Colindres, and I've preached with Alejandro all over the world. And if there's any ministry that I've ever experienced that demonstrates the fire of God, it's the ministry of Alejandro Colindres. There's something in his ministry that just pierces and penetrates men's hearts, and they open up to God, they give themselves to God, and we see so much transformation in his ministry. Thousands of people coming out of gangs and coming out of drugs because they've experienced the overwhelming presence of the Lord. And so it's a privilege to minister with him. It's a privilege to have him there with us, and I believe it's going to be an exciting time. If you're able to come, January 18 to 21 at 7 o'clock each evening at the Scotland campus in Scotland, Pennsylvania, please make it a priority. Thank you.